Hey y'all, it's Phil from Monte Cristo. So you think you want to be a maintenance tech? Well, in this video I'll tell you about some of the things that are involved in being a maintenance tech. Some of the things I'll talk about are like pay you can expect, other responsibilities to consider, work hours, co-workers, managers, tools, and I'll just talk briefly about some of my personal responsibilities at my property and some of my prior experience that I had before getting this job. I've got my notes here just to keep me on track, so this video isn't too long. So first, I want to clarify, I'm in apartment maintenance, so that's the kind of maintenance I'm talking about in this video. So for pay, when I first got this job, I started at, I think, $17 an hour, which, yeah, so it was $17 an hour full-time, and I also live in the Philadelphia area, so, you know, just take that into your account as you're figuring the cost of living and how much you need to make and whatnot. But for me, where I live, it's a good amount. It's enough. Some responsibilities to consider as in maintenance, especially apartment maintenance, is if they're going to want you to do snow removal or painting or landscaping or cleaning or flooring or being on call. So like for my job, we don't have to do snow removal. We don't do painting. We don't do landscaping or cleaning or flooring. Like we hire outside contractors in to do all of those jobs. Like occasionally I'll have to paint something, you know, because the painters missed it or something happened in a residence apartment and I'll have to paint something. But I'm not painting like entire apartments. Like we don't have time for that. One thing we do that I mentioned on the list was being on call, like on emergency calls. I haven't heard of very many apartment complexes where you're like run for maintenance staff where they didn't have on call. Like on call is not fun. It's like basically it means like you're if somebody has like a water leak or some other emergency in their apartment that's like maintenance related after hours, then they call the emergency line, and then the emergency line notifies you, and then you have to go out to the property if you don't live at the property, which I don't, and you have to go fix the problem. And you know, depending on how many residents there are and like how old your property is and how many problems there are, like you can be getting calls all the time or not very much at all. So it's just something to consider. It's probably one of my least favorite parts of this job, though I do like this job a lot. Next, work hours. Work hours are pretty standard, for me at least, 8:30 to 5, Monday to Friday. We're off weekends. We have, speaking of being on call, like right now there's 2 maintenance people, myself and my boss at our property. We have a rotating call schedule. So right now I'm on call, and then my boss is on call the next week, and then I'm on call the week after that, and so on. So that's generally how work hours work for maintenance, apartment maintenance. Co-workers, I'm thankful I have not had, I've only ever had 2 co-workers as long as I've been in apartment maintenance. Bad co-workers like won't help you or won't teach you anything. Like they'll say, you know, I went to school for this. What makes you think you have the right to just get all the knowledge and not have to pay for it? And it's like, you know, just forget all that. Like, just if you have somebody like that, then they're a bad co-worker. Like, should just, if they know more than you, then like they should help you out because you're part of the team, and like if you should want to learn, you know, like that, so they should teach you. And if they can't teach you, if they don't want to teach you, then they're not good coworkers. Another like bad like trait or coworker to watch out for is unreliable people. Like people who say they're going to be there, but then they're not there the next day, or they don't deliver on things. Like if they tell you to do, if you tell them to do something or you ask them to do something, they say yeah they'll do it, but then later like they didn't do it. you know, that's just unreliable, and that's not gonna fly very well in maintenance. A third bad coworker is a blame shifter, which that's pretty easy to do in maintenance. It's like, especially when multiple hands are working on one thing, it's easy to like put the blame off on somebody else. When you're fixing things, it's like, oh, they didn't do this. It's, oh, they didn't do that, and that's not really helpful. That's not like a team oriented thing. Like, you're not helping each other by doing that. Like, if somebody does make a mistake, okay, but let's just acknowledge it, and then let's figure out how to fix the mistake and move on, you know, and help each other out. Like, that's the team oriented thing to do. Good coworkers are, you know, our teachers, our helpers. Like, they'll answer your questions no matter how many questions you have or how many times you ask the same question. It's like that's a big thing. I remember I was talking about that with my coworker Cesar, and like he used to always say to me, like, you know, if you got a question, like, if you already asked me before but you forget, then it's okay. Just ask me again, you know, because that's just the way the mind works sometimes, is you just forget. And like, it's hard to remember everything, and you know, eventually it'll stick, and then you won't ask it anymore. Last thing is a good coworker is open to suggestions. In maintenance, like, everybody's their own way of doing things. It just helps to be open to suggestions, because sometimes, like, you work with people and they're just like very headstrong, and it's like my way or the highway, and it like, that takes so much longer to fix things. Usually it's just you're the only person working on something, and everybody else is just watching you take forever to fix something. When it just, you know, it's better in the long run to be more team oriented in that way and just be open to suggestions. So those are good coworkers for you. Bad managers are also blame shifters. We just talked about that. Also, I'm very thankful I don't have a manager like this. Like, I love my boss, Tom. He's a good boss, and he's definitely not this as a micromanager. Like, he's been micromanaged before, and like, it, you know, he didn't want to be like that, and I'm thankful he's not like that. Just micromanagers are, you know, always looking at you and looking at their watch and just seeing how long it takes you to do things, and like looking over your shoulder to make sure you're doing everything correctly, and like, there's just no breathing room in that. And like, it's very pressurized. Like, you're under a lot of pressure when you're working like that, and very few people work well like that. And I kind of already talked about this a little bit. My way or the highway kind of people. Like, it's much better for the team and for fixing the solution when people are open to suggestions. Good managers, on the other hand, are the opposite of all those things that I just mentioned. They're not blame shifters, not micromanagers. They'll let you, you know, do your work, being open to suggestions. Like, even as a boss, like, you know, I think as the manager or as the boss, like, it's assumed that, like, you have the most experience, or you have a good amount of experience, and you know what you're doing. But like, nobody knows everything. Nobody knows how to fix everything. And like, we all have to learn sometimes, and even bosses, even managers. And so I think just having a bit of humility about yourself in that it can go a long way. Like especially with your employees. Tools, you're gonna need tools. Like, you see, this shop's full of tools. Like, yeah, it's just part of the job. Like, you can get tools at Lowe's, Home Depot, Harbor Freight. I strongly recommend Harbor Freight, because they're usually a little more affordable, and they have, like, the quality's just as good. If you have a Harbor Freight near you, I'd go there and just, you know, get tools over time. Like, they can get kind of expensive, I mean, so I don't buy them all at once, but you know, I've gotten a lot of tools over time. A lot of tools I've gotten for free. I also have a video that somebody requested earlier. It was just like my backpack setup, which you can watch that video here. That's kind of generally speaking about tools, and especially power tools. You want power tools. Some of my personal responsibilities, I do some of the work orders. I used to just be focused mainly on getting apartments. Like doing make readies. We call them make readies, like meaning the apartment needs to be made ready to be moved into. So make ready, return. It's another word for them. But basically, I'm kind of just the last guy that goes in there after the contractors, like the painters, the cleaners, the carpet cleaners go in there. Sometimes if it's an upgrade apartment, then the apartment will get upgraded, like all the cabinets and countertops will get upgraded, appliances will get upgraded and everything. And then the painters will go in there, new floors will get put in, and new carpets. And then cleaners will go in and clean up after them, and then I'll go in at the end to just do the remaining things here and there. It kind of depends, like what on the individual apartment itself, what a make ready consists of. I mean, it's a lot of times it's like changing. It's like easy stuff to hard stuff to just time consuming stuff. Like sometimes I have to paint railings on the patio. I have to install a shut off valve on the water heater for the heating system. Sometimes the heat's not working. Sometimes the AC is not working. It depends on the season. Sometimes so I have to fix those, and that could be a capacitor, or it could be needs more Freon. Check light bulbs, make sure everything works, make sure all the appliances work, test the smoke detectors, test the fire extinguisher, make sure the toilet works, change out the bathtub spouts, replace the toilet seats. The list goes on. It's a long list. But I mean, I've been doing it long enough to where it's mostly in my head now. But it's just things like that to get the apartment ready to be moved into. And then work orders also vary depending on the problem. Some of them are repeat work orders. I mean, the longer you do this job, the more work orders become repeat work orders. But somehow, like, there's always new work orders to be done. Eventually, like there'll be like a new problem that you've never solved before. So those work orders, make readies, and I schedule the contractors that I just mentioned for all the make readies. The painters, carpet cleaners, the cleaners, floor guys, and like just make sure they all come when they said they were going to come, like on the schedule, and make sure they did their job right. So those are my responsibilities as a maintenance tech here. Some of my prior experience, so I have a bachelor's of science in mechanical engineering. You definitely don't need that to be a maintenance tech. It has helped a little bit, like some of like the principles of nature that I've learned, like especially with heating and air conditioning. Those are probably and electricity. Those things, like learning the principles of those things and how they work. I also worked at a couple maintenance shops, so I like working with my hands, and I worked on cars with my hands before, and a lot of that translates over. Like it's just nuts and bolts for a lot of machines. I did still have to learn a lot. A lot of machines are you just have to get familiar with them and fix them. Often, like dishwashers, dryers, washing machines, stoves, microwaves, fridges. So that's just like some of my prior experience that I think helped me get this job. In my current experience, I've been here about 3 years now. So I worked at the same property. we have 250 apartments here, and we're supposed to be a 3-person maintenance staff. We're down a person right now, and we've helped out several other properties back when we had 3 people. Like we were the only property in the area with like a full maintenance staff, and like everybody around us needed help, and now we can't really help others out because we don't have a full staff, and we're doing all right here, but we still need another person. The company that owns the apartment complex, like they can send you to another property that they own and have you like help them for a day. I don't particularly like doing that because I'm most familiar with the property I work at, and so I prefer to stay here. And a lot of times the pay isn't worth going to another property anyway. So to close, the last couple or a few odds and ends. One is kind of similar to what I was saying earlier about being open to suggestions. There's many ways. This is something that my coworker Cesar used to say, is there's many ways to skin a cat. Meaning there's multiple ways to like come up with a solution or fix a problem in maintenance. And like everybody's got their own way, and everybody thinks their way is better than the other person's way. And just at the end of the day, it's best to just be open to suggestions and remember that there's many ways to skin a cat. Another kind of parable to remember about maintenance, so it doesn't get you too down, is when it rains, it pours. And I don't know what it is about this job, but like we'll have like slow, quiet seasons where it doesn't seem like there's hardly any work at all, and we're trying to come up with things to do. And then like the next week we'll just get slammed with work orders and emergencies. Like there'll be a flood from the 3rd floor that'll drip down all the way to the 1st floor, and 3 apartments will get soaked, and then we'll be screwed for the next 3 months or so, like trying to catch up on work orders. But it can happen, and so it's just something to remember about maintenance, is that like sometimes it's really quiet and sometimes it's super busy, and like you just kind of got to ride out the waves as they come, whether big or small. Another thing is it definitely helps to be organized. Like if you're not organized, like you're not gonna be able to find any parts in the shop or anywhere, and you're gonna start losing tools, and like tools are expensive, and generally speaking, tools are expensive. And like, so if you're organized, you can know where everything is, and like you don't have to spend 20 minutes looking for something. So it just really helps to be organized. Another thing is like, if you like variety in your job, and like you don't want to do the same thing every day, then maintenance is a good job for you. Like if you're good with working with your hands and like solving problems, and like don't want to be doing the same thing every day, then maintenance is good for you. There's always new work orders. Like there's always new problems out there. There's always some new thing out there, and it kind of makes the job fun. Like whenever we have like a new problem, it's like, ooh man, wow, this is interesting, this broke like this, like all right, how are we gonna do this one? I've never done this before. It's kind of weird, but it is like sometimes a little exciting. But another thing is the residents. Like if there's anything that there's 2 things that could ruin this job for you. One is the being on call, and the second is the residents. And like you get like a range of residents, at least here where I work. Like some people are cool, other people are quiet, some people are not cool at all. Like but like you kind of have to just be professional about it all, and for lack of a better word, like just fake about it with residents. Like you can't go off on a resident. Like you have to be respectful and professional, and just be fake in your responses to them sometimes. Like with the cool people, be real, be yourself, it helps to have like a good relationship with people where you work, like in the apartment complex you work at, because that makes the job more fun. You can say hi to people, and when people are nice to you, they give you things sometimes, like food or whatnot, and then that's nice. And it's good to know people where you work. It's good, it just makes the whole job nice, makes it more likable. You like the people that you are working for, basically. Like the residents pay your rent, and so you definitely don't want to piss them off too much. But there are definitely residents that I personally wouldn't mind if they moved out and never came back. You don't want those residents working there, but you can't tell them that. You have to let them move out on their own. So it's just you are going to have to deal with people a little bit in maintenance, just as a forewarning to you if you're considering it. And the last thing is something to consider is if they will pay you to live at the property that they want you to work at, or you're wanting to work. My boss told me it used to be that the properties would pay for your apartment, and you could live there for free, or 3/4 of the rent off or something. Because it's helpful for the complex to have maintenance techs living at the property, because then if they're home and somebody calls the emergency line, then they can just run over and fix the problem real quick. No problem, and it won't take that much time to get there. But my boss tells me that it's not that way anymore. Most properties don't really do that. My boss gets, I think, a 25% discount on his rent, which isn't hardly anything, if even that. Either that or 10%, I don't know. But I don't think very many properties do that anymore. But if you're, it's worth asking, if they help out with rent at all. I do not live on site, and I kind of prefer it that way. I like to keep my work separated from home. So I don't know that I would, even if I could, or if it were financially beneficial, but it's something worth considering if you're just living in an apartment. And that's all I got. So hopefully that helps you consider better if you want to be in maintenance or not. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.